Reading is a town of great diversity, of many cultures, backgrounds, lifestyles and identities, and we should all feel safe and welcome in our town.
Those with power are clearly afraid of us, and they should be. Their malevolent, oppressive, disgusting behaviour against women, against racialised minorities and against us is being called out. And they hate it, and so they hate us.
Can't understand why you would victimise a certain sector of the population because of being who they are, particularly if they're young people. And this year has been particularly bad for young people.
This country has slipped into a state where trans people are fearful for their lives, fearful for their safety, fearful for their livelihoods. This is not a surprise. This is not accidental. This is very, very deliberate. It's driven by politicians. It's driven by small but well-funded pressure groups. It's fed by the media, and it becomes a self-feeding machine. The media say something, the politicians repeat it, and so on, and so on, and so on.
Our lives are denied respect, and all too often we are treated as a game for media pundits and celebrities to practice their debating skills, not as real people with our own lives and struggles.
Still, I feel scared every time I use the men's bathroom in college. I keep my head down, get out as fast as possible. My heartbeat feels like I've run a marathon. I shouldn't have to feel this fear. I shouldn't have to watch my friends hide every day. They shouldn't have to be counting down each day until they can move out. We should be able to live, to be teenagers.
In this country alone, a suicide rate for trans people is approximately 48%. Let's call it what it is. That's half of trans or gender diverse identifying people who have attempted to take their own lives at least once. That stops today.
I was nearly one of those names a few years back in 2013. I couldn't cope. I was in an abusive relationship. I was hiding my true self from so many people. So, like so many, I tried to overdose on tablets and booze, but it didn't work. A while later, as I still felt like a freak, a weirdo, outcast, Biddy no mates, I'd planned to jump. Luckily, it was late, and I was spotted by local police officers and pulled from the bridge. They got me the help that I needed.
Every time I open the front door, I think to myself, is today the day that something will happen? Will I be attacked? Will I come home? I get my news from independent media. I look at Twitter, I look at Facebook, and what I see scares me. It makes me petrified. It even makes me question myself. This year I have lost 2 friends to suicide. I know 2 more that have been raped. I can't say for certain that these were as a result of being trans, but I can't exclude the possibility.
The people whose names we say today are so much more than their deaths. They are someone's child, someone's sibling, someone's parent, someone's grandchild, someone's friend, someone's lover. They had lives that were beautiful, full of potential. They gave love and had hope for the future, futures that were taken from them.
A trans woman whom I dated at the time told me that while we had been doing perfectly normal things other couples do while out and about, she'd be continually looking over her shoulder. It wasn't long before I experienced hate firsthand. Passers-by would be making nasty comments and laughing at their wit. There would be shouting and screaming through car windows, but luckily nothing physical.
But I was almost beaten to death by a group of youths the day after Transgender Day of Remembrance 2021, which was ultra scary. I actually thought I was going to physically die that day.
Over the years, I've had to endure counselling, therapy, and medical examinations. I was even given psychological conversion therapy, which was deeply distressing and caused me a lot of pain.
Hate against the trans community is at an all-time high, especially if you're looking at government and the newspapers, the media in general, and it's an uphill battle, but fight we will.
Trans people have always been here, for as far back as records go, for as far back as civilizations go. Whether you identify as male, female, beyond the binary, non-binary, however you identify, you should have a right to live your life how you want. And I just want to take a moment to remember those people that were taken away from us too soon.
We live in a country where there is still a debate on what toilet I should be allowed to use, whether I should be allowed to get married without going through insanely expensive and long-winded medical and legal processes. That stops today.
Most of us are just trying to live out ordinary, quiet lives, yet we constantly find ourselves being thrust into the spotlight of an uncaring and obsessive media as a form of clickbait to sell more copies or to get more subscribers, and never mind the harm it does to us and those around us.
Brianna's death has affected all of us. We've seen it coming for years and years, and we've told people it was coming. We know it could have been any of us, and we know that it's been many of us. Families of trans and non-binary people, this is what they've been scared of and fearing that will happen for so many years. Allies, you need to wise up, you need to speak up, and you need to stand up. Your apathy at what's happening to the trans and non-binary community needs to stop. You need to stop wondering whether there was something that you could have done. You need to stop wondering what you could do. And you need to start doing.
Organisations exist in Reading to offer support, but it requires people to reach out. And we as a community in Reading have organisations that are well placed and experienced to offer that support.
There are things that have made my life easier, but in the climate we live in, being trans in this country is fundamentally dangerous. When you're also a person of colour or a traveller or disabled or poor, then living in this country is a constant fight for survival.
We remember those that aren't with us anymore and fight in their absence. Fight so that one day the newspapers stop reporting the latest tragedy. Fight so that people my age and younger can imagine a future where they grow old, where they are happy.
Our community is not going underground. Quite the opposite. We keep winning in court. Our community is strong. It is that strength which brought us out of the shadows to where we are today, and it is that strength which will mean we win this thing.
I don't want to sit with the tears of sadness stinging my eyes as I hear of the horrific things done to my community, but I know that I will. I don't want to think of the potential, the years and the happiness taken from people who just wanted to be free to live their lives, but I know that I will. This is the reality that the trans community face.
Over the past 4 years, we've mourned more than 2,127 known individuals. Among them, 37 were from the United Kingdom, with the vast majority coming from Brazil, Mexico, and the United States. The global figures are deeply troubling. 27 lost in custody, 67 due to medical causes, 276 by suicide, 114 from unknown causes, and a shocking 1,643 due to violence.